Hello everyone. In this tutorial I will do this animation exercise with the MotionKit. MotionKit, as I have said before, it has like two different ways to work with it. One is with the API, just pure C# scripting, and the other one is the inspector tools. So for this version I will create this exercise with the inspector tools. So we have Unity open and I have already installed the MotionKit package. So we are going to use some of the assets that are contained in the samples package of the MotionKit. You need to go to the package manager, select the asset, the package MotionKit, then you go to samples and then you click import. So the scene that we want to recreate is this one. So this is basically a set of cubes that are animated using basically the inspector tools of the MotionKit. You can see there are three animations, the rotation, the color changing, and when you click the cubes, they grow and they get smaller again. Now we need to create a new scene. I'm going to create it on the same folder. So right click, create, scene, and I am going to name it MotionKit tutorial underscore blocks, because later we will do the script version. Open up the scene and I will get this 3D model that comes with these examples folder, but this cube is a little bit too big, so I will need to get it out from the original model because it also comes with a camera and a light and we don't need that stuff. So I will put it outside. First I need to duplicate it, Ctrl D. I will put it outside. And now I'm gonna get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. Renaming this to just cube. And I'm going to set the scale to 1. Now we're ready to make this react to clicks. So first we will need to add a box collider. So this size is pretty accurate for the cube. This would work. Now I will need to add an object called event trigger. Add new event type. So I will need this to react to pointer click, and later I will fill this up. So for this to work, we need a couple of objects in the scene. One would be the event system, and in the main camera you need to add the physics raycaster. So I think this should be all that we need. So now I will want to create a script to handle the clicks. So I will go to the same folder where the script of the demo is there, but I will create a new one. I'm going to name it cube blocks T to make it different from the current one, T for tutorial. Now I will need to open it. So I will create just a simple handler method. I'm going to name it public void on cube click. And here I'm going to put a debug log just to verify if the click is working or not. Cube clicked. Now back in the editor, now I can add a callback to this event. So I will drag this cube. Of course, I need to add first the script to the cube as well. So I'm adding the cube. Now I will look for the event, which was on cube click. Now let us try it. Perfect. So now we have the click. Now it is time to add the MotionKit component. And here we will create two animations. One to scale it up, so I will choose a motion 3D block. So block is the word that I use to name these objects that will go in the inspector, and each one contains data about a motion, which is basically an animation. Here we can enter and we can set some parameters such as the name. So for this one I'm going to name it scale up. Now I will set the target object to animate as the cube, and I will select a function or a property In this case, it would be local scale. I will set a duration, which is going to be 1.2. I will set the easing. The easing is basically a curve that will interpolate between the initial value and the final value. So by default it is linear, but you can choose other options such as elastic out. This one will make it look like bouncy at the end of the animation. So it looks really nice for this case. And now we need to set the value. So for the initial value, I will click is relative, which means that it will start at the current scale plus whatever I put here. So I want it to start right where it is. So I will set is relative and I will leave it 0, 0, 0. For the final value, I want an absolute value. I want it to end in scale 1, 2, and 2. So I won't check this is relative option. So you notice that when I check this is relative option, it appears the getter property. So the getter is needed because it will need to read the current value of the property. So we need to set it the same way we did for the setter. In this case, it will be the same property, which is local scale. And now we're ready to go. Now to play this animation from the script, we need to go back to Visual Studio and we need to create a reference to the MotionKit component. So private MotionKit component, Alt Enter to import the package, MotionKit component. I'm going to set this to serialized field so that it is visible on the editor. Now I will replace this debug line with MotionKitComponent.play, and I will need to pass in the name of the animation, which is scale up. Now we can test it out. Oh, we need to set the reference. So we have this field already, but we haven't set the reference, so we need to drag it here. Now it should work. Perfect. So now we want to click it so that it goes back to its normal size. To do that, we need to create a new animation. So we are going to copy the scale up animation and paste it. And we need to change some parameters. So I will change the name to scale down. And I will change the final value to 1, 1, 1. So it will start again at 0, 0, 0 with respect to its current value, and that's why I chose is relative. And now it will go down to scale 1. So we need to go back to the script, and now we need to create a flag that will say whether it is upscaled or not. So private bool is upscaled, and we can use that flag here to choose which animation we are going to use. So if it is upscaled, then we will want to use the downscale, the scale down animation, scale down. Otherwise, we are going to use the scale up. And here we invert the boolean as well, so that it will toggle every time we click. So now we can click the cube and it will grow, and then click it again and it will go back to its normal scale. But you will notice that if you start clicking it very fast, animations won't look right because they are conflicting with one another. So basically what's happening is that if an animation starts before the current one is complete, they will try to go to different values at the same time, giving this kind of weird result. So for that, the MotionKit has a very clever solution, which I will try to explain now. In the MotionKit component, the array elements are called motion blocks. In this case, both are motion 3D block, and they contain internally motion objects, which are the ones that actually carry out the animation. So the scale up and the scale down, each one has a unique motion object, and that's why they conflict with one another, because they are two animations running at the same time. But for this, there is an option to share the motion, and that is why the owner and reuse ID exist. So in this case, both motion blocks will be using the same motion object. So when one starts and the other then starts while this is still running, what will happen is that this one stops and starts again, but with a new final value. So that looks better when you see the animation reacting in real time. To set this up, I will need to go back to the Unity editor. I will go to the first motion, which is the scale up, and I can click edit owner and reuse ID. So I want the owner to be the cube, and I want the reuse ID to be scale, because this is animating the scale of the cube, so this name makes sense. So I will need to set the same exact parameters in the other motion block that I want to share the motion object. So it's basically setting the cube and scale again. Now, if I run it and I try to click the cube fast as I did before, you will see that it is working perfect. So if the growing animation is clicked before it ends, it will start to get small before it try to complete the growing animation. Alright, so that's all for this tutorial. I will continue to do the following tutorials until we get to the point where we are supposed to, which is the complete set of cubes changing colors and rotating and with this behavior as well. I'll see you in the next video.